I'll introduce our next speaker, who is a tech entrepreneur with over 10 years of experience. So this is Jochem. He's been involved in numerous large and often complex innovative projects and ventures, and I think he'll talk about some of those today. He's responsible for the first implementation of blockchain technology in public transport. And so I know Jochem because I used to run a surf life-saving program on the beach for young kids, and his kids used to come down to that. And we started playing touch rugby together. So that's the kind of lovely community that we have here in Bali of, great community people, but also very innovative business people. So handing over to you, Jochem, to tell us about what you do.
Thanks again. Thanks for the introduction, Adrian. A quick introduction on me. So I'm indeed a entrepreneur. I've been entrepreneur my entire working career. So I'm now 40, and I started my first company when I was 24. I was always related to technology. I moved to Bali about 3 years now ago. It's been a lovely experience so far.
Great. Okay, so I prepared some questions for you. So the format of this session is Q&A. So I prepared some questions for our audience to get to know you better, and then I'll be checking on the chat window as well for any questions from the floor. So
it's nice to have an interactive session. So if other people have questions, and feel free to do so, I would say.
Yeah, great. Okay, so my first question is, how long have you been to Bali, and where did you move here from?
Yeah, so I already mentioned I'm now here for 3 years. And the initial reason why I moved here is because my other company that I had before had an office in Singapore that I wanted to try to lead. But after 6 months, we came to the conclusion that we had to pull the plug out of that company, which was too bad. But then I was all by myself in Bali, and since my family was getting settled, I liked Bali a lot. I thought like, fuck it, I'm not getting distracted. Right? I'm just gonna try it from here. So all good so far. And we moved from Amsterdam, by the way, from the Netherlands. So we lived in Amsterdam for 3 years.
Okay, good. So do you consider it's been a good decision for business as well as family?
Yeah, I did not expect that, to be honest, in the beginning, because Bali has this, especially pre-COVID, right? It was like a party island. So it was difficult to consider this also as a place for doing business, and especially doing good business. But it has been really, really good. So far, I must admit. For me, there are two important reasons why it's been really good. First of all, Bali and Indonesia, and maybe Asia in general, tends to be a bit more slow compared to, especially compared to the Netherlands, where everything you need to do it fast and quick. But if things move faster, it also means that there are some collateral damage on the business decisions that you have to take. And just by the fact that you cannot move super quick, it takes like the rough edges of my entrepreneurial character. So the irony is that as an entrepreneur, I'm going quicker than I would have in the Netherlands before. At least it's going really well. And the second point is that obviously I think you experienced it well as well, Adrian. So the fact that you can balance work and life and exercising in a way that you can just fluidly go through your day. Right? So it's and in Holland it's like everything is mashed into this 9-to-5 rhythm, which is understandable, but it's great not to have it.
Yeah, I hear you completely. That's I've got a similar background to you in terms of running technology companies. And when I first moved to Bali, I was one of the first few. Everyone else was in hospitality or food and beverage. But I really resonate with what you're saying. I think sometimes you need to slow down to go fast. It's ironic. It doesn't seem to make sense.
It's counterintuitive, right? So you're like, okay, I'll wait. So let's see how it goes. But it's going, so the results are there. So when the results are there, I have nothing to complain.
Yeah, spot on. Yeah, when I first moved to Bali, I was running teams across Singapore, Malaysia, Middle East, Europe, and the US, and across Europe as well. And while that sounds really hectic, I was able to recharge by, connecting with friends in the community, going to the beach for walks, going surfing, and
the fact that you can go surfing in between meetings, for example, you can actually do that, right? It fires you up again.
That's right. Actually, I have a name for surfing meetings. I call them board meetings. So you're taking your surfboard down the beach.
I'll keep that in mind. It's a good one.
Yeah, it'll be our code word. Let's go for a board meeting.
Yeah.
So tell us about your technology background, and when did blockchain start to become involved in those projects?
All right. I have to mention a little bit our company. So our company name is It's a Virus. What's in the name? And I've been running that company for almost 15 years now. And we have a group of about 50 engineers and designers here in Bali. So that's the company that we have, right? So we build usually bigger and complex applications, primarily in mobility, logistics, and blockchain environment. And we do that with European clients, but also clients from Singapore, Thailand. So that's super nice. But of course, I have a technology background as well. I haven't been educated in it, but I studied electrical engineering like a gazillion years ago, and I was always already tearing apart computers when I was young. So that's where my technology background starts. And then when in 2004-05, when online marketing started to become a thing, I started a small fashion label and did my marketing via social media. You didn't have any Facebook or things like that, but there were websites that you can say that were the early social media websites. So I had to program this website, and I had to program a web shop by myself because there were no great web shop tools available yet. You have to create like a payments integration with the bank all by yourself because it wasn't there. But now the guys that we have are way better than I will ever be as a developer, I would say. So I take definitely a step back in terms of being actively involved. But what I can do is definitely translate the business needs from our clients into like, okay, then if it's a project like this, then we have to organize it like that and make sure that we use a certain type of infrastructure, certain types of languages.
Okay, very cool.
And when we get involved in blockchain projects, I always have been super interested in anything new. It was actually one of the first tips that I got as an entrepreneur. Was from one of the founders of letsbuyit.com. I don't know if you know, but it was one of the early 90s or late 90s .com companies that was valued at nothing, and then a year later at a few billion, and then 1 year later at nothing again. But he told me like, hey, the reason that I have to hire you, Jochem, is that I stopped exploring new things, new trends, and new technologies, and now I'm stuck. So I don't know it anymore. So I thought like, shit, I really have to make sure that with anything new, I have to jump onto it. So already in 2010, I bought Bitcoin, and then in 2015 we were mining Bitcoin, and in 2017 did a token sale. In 2018 tried one, and this year we did one as well successfully. So I think 2015 is when we really got involved into blockchain as a technology.
Very cool. Wow. Okay, and so can you give me an example of a project that you're working on now that involves blockchain technology?
Yeah, there are a number of projects that we do within our company. So we have a decentralized finance project where we work on insurance. We have a payment protocol where we like bundle all types of tokens into one app and then easily try to give it easily for retailers as well. We work with the New Fork, a company in the Netherlands. They use blockchain technology in order to visualize all data in the supply chain for food and juices, these kind of things. Super nice also, I think, in relation to what can be done in Asia. And we have our own project. So in the beginning of the year, we did a race for Malali, MelX, and it's a metaverse project where we have games, promotions, and activities on a metaverse kind of application.
Very cool, very cool. And so you're based in Bali. You have an office based in Bali? Is that the head office or is it a satellite office?
Yeah, we have offices in Singapore and Amsterdam as well, but they're just representation offices, right? It's small. In Amsterdam, it's actually with my brother, who has a company in Amsterdam. So it's not like we're, especially not when COVID started, right? We just had to decide to where are we really based. So yeah, we're really based in Bali, and the entire team is working from here, and it has been a blessing to be here during the COVID situation. Right? It's the impact all over the world is terrible. But in Bali, we still navigate through it pretty well. Of course, a lot of people have bad times, but it's still a good place to be.
Yeah, very cool. So would you consider the Bali office your main office?
Yeah, it is.
Right,
yeah,
cool.
Yeah. So we have a certain type of corporate structure where Singapore is really important as well. But in terms of where we are working from, Bali is the place where we work from. Very
cool. And how many staff do you have in the Bali office, and what's the nationalities? And if Indonesia, how many of them from Bali?
We have about 50 people, and like 50% of that is from Bali.
Wow.
So we prefer to recruit people from Bali because it's just easier from a logistical point of view. But we recruit people from all over Indonesia, literally all over Indonesia. So we then fly them in, make sure that everything is taken care of really nicely. And by the way, everyone is Indonesian except me and my Dutch co-founder as well. So yeah, we're the only two Boulets.
That's I'm just really amazed with what you just said about the types of projects you're doing and the staff that you have, working on the technology behind these projects, because I don't know about the rest of the audience, but I think not many people outside of Bali or outside of our circle realize that, there's so much brains trust, within Indonesia and Bali. There's so much talent working on the latest technology. When I look at your website, yeah, it's amazing. It looks like, well, when I look at the project you're doing, I can see the leading edge, technologies, but I think intuitively people don't think, oh, that's made in Bali, So that's really amazing.
Yeah, of course, like in Europe and places like Singapore, you really have the best universities which grow talent in that kind of way. But what I see from guys that work in our company, and definitely not all of them. Some have been just working with computers since a really young age, and then went to university, and then came to our office and started working. But we also have kids, dropouts from really different parts of Indonesia, and then technology is your way into the middle class, right? So it's they know that if I can start programming, if I become good at it, I'm set for life, right? And then so there's a big incentive for a lot of young kids to just say, fuck it, I'm leaving this small village where I really don't have a lot of opportunities, and I'm gonna get myself a computer, start programming, and then work my way up. So there's a deep intrinsic motivation with many of these kids to become really, really good at what they're doing. And indeed, what you say, many of these things are super complex, but they do it, right? It's and fast as well. So I'm
Amazing.
I'm surprised, not that I didn't expect that, but I'm just surprised because it also in many ways beats the teams that I had in Holland.
Amazing.
So here in Indonesia, people talk less with each other. And it's just in the Netherlands, you always have these lengthy conversations with each other to align and and here it's just okay, let's do it, and then
Do it.
a few weeks later you see great progress. You're like, oh, what the fuck? So that's really good.
Yeah, I've had that experience myself as well. That's very cool. So what do you look for when you're recruiting, a cold candidate, like someone you don't know, you've just seen the CV? Anything you're looking for?
Yeah, so we have a great HR department who does that, I would say first. So they really do a good job in recruiting the best guys from Indonesia. But typically it's one of the two guys or girls that I want. We have a lot of girls, by the way, as well. Super nice. A lot of girls in tech. But typically it's like the super young kids, 17, 18, 19 years old, who dropped out of university for some kind of reason, and we give them like an apprenticeship course, so they can work with us for 3 months. If they do great, we do another 3 months, and then after that they got a good contract. So in these 3 months, we don't expect a lot of contributions from them in terms of the actual projects that they're working on, but we expect a lot of progress from them, because then they are guided by the more senior engineers and designers. And that works really well, I must say, because you can really cherry pick the super smart kids that many other companies don't hire because they don't have the right background. But we don't care about your education, right? As long as you're smart and you like computers, it's fine. And the other type of person that we like to recruit are the really senior guys that are really on top of their skill set and really know what they're doing. So they are aged like from 25 years and older, but they carry this experience already with them, and but they must be really, really good. And anything in between. So you don't want meteor guys or girls working because it's so you really want either the smartest young kids or the best experienced people. And we of course can offer them like a great opportunity to work on super complex projects for clients really all over the world. So it's also for them, I think, really it's really nice. And you work in Bali,
Yeah,
big villa close to the beach. Right? I mean, that life.
good. I got a question from the audience. Annalisa she wants to know where she can see a list of all the projects you are involved in.
There you go.
There you go. Perfect. Okay, great. So yeah, have a look at that website. There's some really cool projects that you can check out. So I'll move on to my next question. So given what you said about the talents in Bali and what they're able to achieve on the project that you've been working on, how do you see the the future position of Bali in general as a hub for technology business serving a global market? I mean, do you see that more companies can set up to do what you're doing, or do you think what you're doing is quite unique?
I think it's because I think many people in the audience know that setting up a PT PMA, it's not as easy as you can do it, for example, in Europe or in Singapore. So it takes time. There's definitely some red tape that you need to understand because there are local taxes, there are Jakarta taxes. So it takes time to really understand that and the right people around you to help you with that. And the second thing is that, yeah, of course, if I can do it, anyone can do it. But I hope that the Balinese institutions also are more supporting in terms of basic infrastructure, right? Because the more people come to Bali, the more crowded it gets, and it's already, everyone who is from Bali, this audience understands that it's already super crowded, and there are no international tourists. So what if that comes back, right? And what if more companies open up here? I think you need to have a proper plan.
Okay, great. I got a question from, I think, Sebastian. Let's check. Powwow, is that you, Sebastian? And if it is you, Powwow, can you unmute yourself and ask the question so that we can address it for you?
Yes, it's me. Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. So basically, the question is, if you came across any of your projects in a correlation between blockchain as well as smart capital, and that's preferably excluding smart contracts. I'm just trying to find out. Yeah.
What do you exactly mean with smart capital?
Let's say you have an expert like Adrian, and who has his billed hours, and he's, for example, saying, okay, this week I have 100 hours available, which I would like to give into a platform, into someone, let's say a founder who needs my expertise, but not paying for it in either tokens, coins, etc., but giving it as a smart capital in exchange of either revenue or share of profit. That's the definition of smart capital. But I'm looking into if you have any experience into the correlation between that and the blockchain technology. I mean, because smart capital, that's is that clear?
Yeah, I think it's clear. Like, so it's more human capital as an investment, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So then I support a project from a friend that I met in the Netherlands, but also lived in Bali for a really long time, and he is working on something similar, or something along that line. So it's like a platform for freelancers to easily collaborate and easily get paid for the right deliverables, with some kind of cool tokenomic designs behind that. But that's it, I would say. But these kinds of concepts are, in terms of like the future of work, of course, really where I think a big part of the world will go, where everyone will be organizing themselves as a DAO, where you can just join or leave at any moment that suits you, right? So you just get rewarded for the task that you've completed.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you.
Thanks.
Cool. Okay. Jochem, any would you like to promote anything to audience? Maybe do you have a recruitment vacancy or opportunities you want to talk about? Anything you want to announce to the audience here?
I already dropped a link to our website, of course, cool. So you can check it out, and just try to reach out to me via socials if you want, and I'm always keen to have a word of just giving advice or discussions on anything. So that whether it's about starting up in Bali or technology or whatever it is. So I'm always open for any type of contact or meeting or discussion.
Great, that's very generous. Thank you. We have a question from the audience. Seb Purge, can you elaborate on your question, which is, can you talk a bit about the fork? Seb, can you unmute and give us some context to your question?
Sure. Hi, thanks a lot for the talk. I just checked your website and you have like this interesting project called the New Fork, where you integrate blockchain technology and basically the whole supply chain. But there's not much information on the website. Can you maybe a little bit elaborate on the current status of that and how that's going, and if there's like some
definitely. Yeah, so the idea of the New Fork is that by visualizing data from supply chains for food, the supply chains become, the people can trust the information within the supply chains. It's up and running, so we've been working on it for like a year and a half. So we already onboarded a lot of organizations, among which like the biggest bottler. So the bottler is a company that puts juices in bottles, but it means if you have the biggest bottler, like all the like transactions, we call them, are already stored on a blockchain. So from the farmer in Poland to the company that gets the apples to a factory and all the way to the supermarket, it's stored, it's operational live, and you can go to a consumer interface, so a website, and you can check a batch that is connected, which you can see on the bottle, and then you can really see where all the ingredients from that juice are originating from. And it's supported by the Dutch government, supported by universities, by the World Food Bank. So they really made a lot of good progress. And we, what we did in terms of technology is help. So everything from setting up like the basic server architecture, setting up all the nodes, making sure that the blockchain infrastructure is up and running, to like the whole Python logic in between, connecting to all the ERP systems from these usually old industry giants to our relative new infrastructure.
All right, very good. That's a very comprehensive answer, Jochem. We've actually run out of time. I think judging by the questions, the audience have found your talk very informative and they want to know more. So as mentioned, you can reach out on social media. And in fact, after the conference, I will be sending out emails to speakers and attendees, and speakers who are open to be contacted will have their contact details as well. So yeah, thank you everyone for your attention. And thank you, Joe, for a very enlightening Q&A on what you're doing, what your team here in Bali is doing. Sounds like really amazing innovation projects and really making Bali proud. So well done to you and your team.
Thanks for organizing, Adrian. It's super nice to have these conferences. We should do it more often.
Yeah, plan to do the next one in April or May. So stay tuned.